The first 360Hz gaming monitors were released in 2020. If you're a performance-oriented gamer, chances are you wanted to get one right then and there. But for most gamers, this really isn't a worthwhile investment. It's great that technology is developing at such a rapid pace, but the fact of the matter is that game development needs time to catch up, and in some cases, it simply won't ever catch up. So with that in mind, let's go over the pros and cons of a 360Hz monitor to help you decide whether this is something worth your money. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's quickly do a recap on the main spec of this discussion, which is the refresh rate. Measured in hertz, refresh rates tell you how many times a monitor redraws the displayed image every second. So a 60Hz monitor displays 60 images per second, a 90Hz monitor displays 90 images per second, and so on. If you mainly use your PC for typing and internet browsing, you won't see any benefits whatsoever to higher refresh rates. But for gamers, the difference between a higher and a lower refresh rate can sometimes mean the difference between victory and defeat. This is especially true when playing competitive shooters like CSGO and Valorant, although it's a useful spec to have in genres such as Battle Royales and MOBAs as well. Naturally, the biggest benefit that a 360Hz monitor brings to the table is a smoother gaming experience. The smoothest gaming experience currently achievable, to be exact. The faster the image refreshes, the faster you'll be able to react to the changes that occur in the game. Granted, it'd be foolish to think that purchasing such a monitor would somehow elevate your skills to the level of a pro player. But it's also undeniable that such a monitor would give you an advantage over players who don't have such a smooth refresh rate. What's also great is that 360Hz monitors are already available in IPS panels. It wasn't so long ago that 240Hz refresh rates were only achievable on TN panels. Back then, you had to make the hard choice between visuals and performance. But right now, you can have a 360Hz monitor with breathtaking colors and wide viewing angles. But however great the option of merging such unprecedented performance with great visuals may be, the fact of the matter is that for most gamers, a 360Hz monitor would be a wasted investment. Let us explain why. First of all, you would need hardware that's beefy enough to consistently dish out at least 300 frames per second. After all, if your hardware can only manage 200 or even 250 FPS, then a 240Hz monitor would be a much more appropriate investment. But that's not all. You would also have to make the conscious decision to stick to 1080p gaming. The higher the resolution, the harder it is for the graphics card to pump out high FPS counts. Pro gamers may very well be required to make this concession, but most gamers would be better off balancing the capabilities of their hardware between visuals and performance instead of going all out in one aspect. Just think, would you rather play Apex in 1440p with 150 FPS or in 1080p with 300 FPS? In addition to this, many gaming genres simply don't benefit from high FPS counts. Sure, competitive genres like shooters, battle royales, MOBAs, racing games, and possibly MMOs are all about performance. But for anything else, the actual value of venturing into triple-digit FPS territory is dubious. Which leads us to the last non-price related issue with the spec, which is your ability to discern the difference. Anyone can see the difference between 30 and 60 FPS. The difference between 60 and 120 FPS should still be discernible to most anyone, but this is where the diminishing returns start to kick in. For years now, many users have claimed that they simply couldn't see the difference between, say, 140 FPS and 240 FPS. If you can, more power to you. Go nuts. But what we're saying is that in all likelihood, you won't see a difference between a 360Hz monitor and a 240Hz monitor. Heck, most people won't even be able to fully appreciate the difference between 144Hz and 360Hz. And then there's the price. The fact that 360Hz monitors aren't readily available in higher resolutions does keep the prices from being too ludicrous, but you can expect this purchase to leave you at least half a grand lighter. So, should you buy it? We can't say yes, but we also don't want to give a definitive no. There are users for whom these monitors are a godsend, but they are very specific users. So if you're thinking about buying a 360Hz monitor, just answer these questions honestly. Do you have a PC powerful enough to maintain a steady 300 FPS in games you want to play? Are the games you want to play a part of a genre that heavily favors performance over visuals? Can you perceive the minute differences between 240 frames per second and 300 frames per second? And lastly, do you not mind paying such a premium for what is still a 1080p display? If, and only if, the answer to all of these questions is yes, are 360Hz monitors worth buying? And even then, they're a more worthwhile investment if you're only now making the jump from 60Hz or possibly 144Hz into the true high end. If you've already got a 240Hz monitor, we recommend holding off on the upgrade as the actual benefits you'll get are anything but cost efficient. In any case, we hope you found this video helpful. If you have, you can help us out by liking it, sharing it with friends, or leaving a comment. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and enable notifications so that you never miss a video. We've also got loads of other informative display specs videos on our channel that you should definitely check out before making any purchases. The links to all of them are in the description. In the meantime, may your games be fun and your losses few. And as always, we'll see you next time on Gaming Scan.